even as far as the next AFCON out in Cote d'Ivoire, Group C, now we just looked at Group B and we thought, wow, not what you stuff, right? And Group C's got Senegal, Cameroon, like we're talking big, powerful men here of African football.
Yeah.
Guinea actually, passed over in Guinea, I think played for Guinea, I beg your pardon, and Gambia as well. Yeah, like, hey man, Senegal and Gambia start off the games like Cameroon, Guinea, and I always feel after that first game, the first round, you either win or you lose, but it will change everything.
What I love about this group is that you got two former champs. Senegal are the reigning champions, so we know what's expected of them. Cameroon, I think, at home, they're very unlucky not to get to the final. They played very well.
They just
and also, they have a generation of players who might not make the next AFCON. Vincent Obubaka for me has been the great player for Cameroon.
What did you think about the World Cup?
Oh, my friend.
When
he scored that goal, I mean, he was very unlucky.
Unlucky.
No, but as an African, weren't you proud of it?
No, I'm saying unlucky for Cameroon. Unlucky.
But I mean, you see, the problem is, in the World Cup, the coach for me did not plan proper. Because how do you have Vincent Abubakar sitting out? And by the time he introduced him, the horse has already bolted. And he scored the goals. After scoring the goals, that's when he took off his jersey because he knew he was going to get suspended. And
he didn't care.
But he didn't care. But he showed to say, you know what, you never played me, but this is
what I'm saying something quickly, guys. Remember the Morocco team with Hachi?
Yes.
Right, the qualified for World Cup. And other
it was a better team than the one who reached the semi-final.
That's what I'm saying. But what was different? What was different? And this was different about the Cameroon team and the other team that saw this last World Cup. I'm like, us as Africans, we didn't believe in ourselves. Because they qualified, Ghana even qualified for World Cup. Go there, you can see they're not playing with the belief of a team that believes they can do anything. We think they can play. The Ghanaians, they think they're strong. They just want to defend, it's Brazil. And they don't play within themselves. And I think it's beginning to get to a point where now teams are believing in themselves.
I believe
where our role comes in, Chris. We are the ones that actually mess some of these things up. Let me tell you why. Us in the media space.
Okay.
Because when Senegal went to the World Cup, when they got to the World Cup, right? Once they said Sadio Mane was injured, every headline was Sadio Mane. Nobody spoke about your star players within the team that can still carry the team and can still do well. We all spoke about Sadio Mane is out. And every headline was about Sadio Mane, but you never spoke about the players who were carrying the team. You look at the squad they had in the World Cup. They had a brilliant squad.
When you get the media, you're right. We were playing Ghana, my first international, South Africa, Ghana, international qualifier for 2006 World Cup.
Yeah.
FIFA World Cup qualifier.
Yeah.
South Africa, Ghana, FNB Stadium. First international. So, you know how eager we are. Especially when we're young, we do research like three weeks ahead of time. Then you're going to go sit at the internet cafe, because there's still internet cafes. And now, Stephen appear. You look at his history. Ghana in the 19 World Cup. Juventus in the 19 or whatever team is playing for.
Yeah.
And no one knows them. Olympian and so on and so on. John Penson. These guys, all of them. Just great achievements at junior level, but no one knew them.
Yeah.
So a week before the game, I'm sitting there and now I'm ready to commentate. I've done all those research on these Ghanaians. And I read the Sowetan Friday before the game on Saturday. Should be an easy win for South Africa.
Oh, South Africa.
Yeah, who are these Ghanaians? Because it's kids. So I call my dad, I'm like, hey, let me just read up on these players. Maybe I'll choose 11. And just read the pedigree of these guys. This way they played, Sampdoria, wow. And he's like, we're going to lose. I'm like, yeah, we're going to get chopped. And they charged us 300. But all the papers, like we say in the media, because we don't do the research center, said we should have an easy game. And because we lost to that great generation of Ghanaian players, but even appear for crying out loud. The coach were fired.
It is the same.
Because it was supposed to be an easy win. Well, these Ghanaians.
It is the same thing. When you look at this group, by the way, in this group, only Gambia flags is not the same as the rest. So they've got blue instead of yellow. Yeah. I love African flags. So talking of players, it looks like it is a difficult group that Gambia won't do anything, or Guinea won't do anything. But look when you have Senegal and Cameroon. Listen, Cameroon, they are very unlucky, like Brian said, in the last AFCON. They look like it. If they made the final, they would have won it. That is given.
Because that's a place to play in France.
Yes, but the thing is, in the national team level, Cameroon has been very solid since the AFCON in 2021.
Okay.
Senegal, I don't know if they lost their position of being number one. I did not check.
It's still hard.
So Senegal and Cameroon, they would make it in the last 16.
I think Morocco is actually the one that is doing better on the rankings.
So I'm looking at in this group. Unfortunately, we will not have third team going through because Cameroon would win.
Senegalese goalkeeper that was the captain when Equatorial Guinea hosting with Chicks, when Chicks was there. Anyway, I'll ask him in the press conference before we play them. We'll say, hey man, you guys are bigger than the South Africans. Way bigger. You're gonna challenge them in the air, use your strength. Yeah, if you break them, you're gonna break them. And after that, we go to the training session, they're playing Tupac, bro. Mama, I'll raise up. Like all this gangster music. Now they charge us 3-0. Just strength. Just 2 goals in the air. Strength. Just powerful cats. You know what I mean? Like
Brian, this group, what do you think? Because if
I have to say,
to Sizwe stories, you
you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. I remember the Ghanaian captain, number 5, in Ghana. The power, the shit record that was him talking about.
Yeah.
The guy took off his shirt, he was being sent off or something.
Yeah.
And took off his shirt.
Listen, Apia played the whole tournament with one leg.
Remember when they broke him in 2006? Senegalese broke him. The most physical team I've ever seen. And this guy wouldn't
for me, when you look at this, Chris, when you look at this group, the reason I agree with you, gentlemen. Senegal and Cameroon will advance from this group. But you know what I love about this group also is that you've got 2 African legends sitting on the benches of those 2 teams.
Oh, coaches.
You know, you got Aliou Cisse sitting on one bench, you got another bench, you got Robert Song, who still has a record for me being in most AFCONs. You know, but also what I find very interesting is that there's a history and a bond to really peak between the 2 countries. You know, from a footballing point of view, to say we managed to win it in our own country. We're going to show you there was no fluke. You still have the best players ever. For me, I believe, you know, in Senegal, when we had gone as media and spoken about Abdoulaye Dia, and spoken about Ismail Assar, and spoken about Idrissa Gueye, spoken about Koulibaly, and mentioned those players more, would have seen a difference with Senegal at the World Cup. Yeah. Or you spend too much time talking about something.
I believe Senegal, they're going to redeem themselves. Look, there is a story with Robert Song.
Yeah.
I was with this young man in Egypt, so we went to Cameroon's training session. So because he speaks French, so they asked me to do an interview with. So he had the blonde hair. They are calling him the Lion Blanc.
Yes.
The white lion. So I asked him the last question. I say, so is this your last AFCON? What can you say to the African people? He nearly killed me, my friend.
I played till 22. This guy was asking like 2006.
Who told you this is my last AFCON?
And then against Egypt in Ghana, it's such a horrible game. We were like, I think that was time, but that was 2010. This guy has to be like,
you still remember Egypt goal from Abu Trika?
Yeah.
Oh, bro.
Defense ball came. He was alone. The lion
like
was
you
alone.
old, you look.
But you know, it's the same thing.
Anyway,
you never
that's
go
beautiful
to
African football.
Like now, when you said at the start, that Chris is the oldest guy. That's why he looked at you.
No, every week he's telling me we're old. I say he's old, he's upset.
We don't. So group D, what's your story there?
Brian, let's start with you. Group D. I'm coming off the group. I'm trying.
You know, I want to mention certain players' name because we might have a problem here.
In this group,
he plays for another team.
In this group,
the other team that is always upsetting his team.
In this group, let's go to this group.
You know, when you have a Riyad Mahrez sitting there.
Can you talk about this group? Forget about my
Algeria. Can I say something about Algeria?
Yeah.
And this upsets me about Algeria since the 2006s when we started doing Champions League games.
Yeah.
As commentators.
Yeah.
Because you do your research with these guys. And
why do you keep on kicking me?
sorry, I'm playing footsie because I want a shoe. So I want you to say dirty that I'm just gonna leave it. Anyway, listen. So we do Champions League games.
Yeah.
And I remember I went to Algeria, got to see the football at the stadium. They play. They genuinely play. No, these guys play.
No, they're league, they're very. This is foot.
And we're talking for a long time, right? And then the national team comes out and you select a whole bunch of guys who really can't. I think it's a disservice to when your league is that good.
Who are you talking
He talks to Algerian and from the start.
Brother, Algeria's a bullying. Like, no, man, thanks.
Okay, in this.
But that's my issue with Algeria. Just pay a bit more attention to your homegrown players as well. Mix it up.
You know, it is Algeria is almost like South Africa. They love their club football more than the national team.
Yeah.
They play.
It is the mixed stuff. So in this group, I see Angola giving Burkina Faso a run for their money.
Yeah.
And unfortunately,
Just basketball.
Mauritania is a dark horse in this group.
You know, I spent time with Angola. We were talking about COSAFA. Pedro Goncalves is the man in charge of the Angolan team. He was brought from Sporting Lisbon to come to Angola. His arrival was to be in charge of Pedro. There is agreement in Agosto.
Yes.
So he was in charge of the youth team. So the team they're seeing now in the Angola national team are literally players he grew up with. From the 2018 COSAFA
So he
tournament.
groomed them.
He groomed them. From the 2018 COSAFA qualifiers for the AFCON for the under-17 because they defeated South Africa in the final in Mauritius. They went on to play against Brazil for the World Cup in Brazil. Those players were therefore groomed and grown into the team, the players you're seeing now. You know, you have some players there that I believe are going to surprise a lot of people.
So who are you seeing in this group?
I believe Algeria will advance.
I pick
But Angola is going to
Mauritania.
cause a lot of havoc in this group.
I'm taking Algeria and Mauritania in this group.
Now, Burkina Faso, I believe, you know what, Chris?
My friend, do you see what they're doing in the Champions League?
You know these trees.
Yeah, I like that. I like what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because you have elastic balance. Like, I don't understand South Africa struggling when you do so well in the Champions League. I don't care if it's just one team. When Al-Ahly was conquering all in the
But you
Champions
see,
League,
the difference
Egypt conquered
between
with Al-Ahly players.
South African Champions League is like DRC Champions League, where you have in the starting 11 9 non-DRC players.
Yeah.
In Tip Mazembe.
Okay, but then South Africa's problem is Brian. Suppose Chiefs. So you must have a Chiefs player. You must have a Spooky.
That's what I say. That's the same.
Want to share the love?
No, that's the same.
Best
That's the
players.
same thing with Algeria.
We first look at how many times they represented.
I think the biggest problem, you know, when we did one of the podcasts way back, was that you guys are spot on. You said you were in Paul, and I was there. I remember I came in there. Where we're talking about the fact that club football was big in South Africa before it even got a final
national
to the
team.
national
National team is new.
So the national team came back in 1982.
Yeah,
The
national
club
team is
football was
very
only
new.
played from
Remember,
1985.
we didn't get English.
The rivalry,
We didn't get nothing.
Still,
But I'm saying, but the rivalry that was created in club football
It
became
went to the
bigger
national
than
team.
the national team.
Yeah.
So that rivalry eventually became a situation where every time a player is selected, it is always going to be who does he play for first before you talk about does he deserve to be national team.
Like the thing is, if you're gonna choose 8 hot Senegal players, take your 8 hot Senegal players.
Yes,
I don't care
that Barcelona did it. Spain
the
did.
Chiefs won their last league. That whole back four should in the national team.
Listen.
Mashama, there's an entire back four. But
Spain.
no, it's gonna take one, and then you must take everyone else from Black Leopards.
No. Spain in 2010 when they won the World Cup,
Barcelona.
it was dominated by Barcelona.
Same Barcelona
Because
players, players.
Barcelona for the
Okay.
5 years before the World Cup 2010, they were dominating the world. So, my friend, I think we need to
And a lot of players, by the way, from Angola coming from different Luanda.
if we had to talk Group E, we'll talk it in the next episode because the Group E will take the whole episode.
Okay, let me just preempt it, just so you guys think about it. As it's South Africa coming last minute, I wouldn't be surprised to get chopped by everyone. Tunisia, Namibia, they didn't make chance here in COSAFA, a minute here. What's in that group?
So are you already put us in the Group E? We're talking Group E now? Or?
No, I'm just giving you guys something to think about, get my opinion, and giving everyone at home something to think about when we talk. South Africa's going to have it very tough in it.
You know when you start comparing South Africa, COSAFA, and Namibia, COSAFA.
Brother.
That is chalk and cheese, man.
Brother.
You can't even compare those.
Brother.
But you can't compare those two. Because remember, South Africa now, for the last few years, have not been sending their regular players for the COSAFA.
No, forever.
You understand?
Forever.
So that is why you can you can never sit down and say, let's talk about Namibia versus South Africa, COSAFA, because there's a different story. A different debate. We can sit here until
they qualified for the AFCON.
But I'm saying, remember the two countries, South Africa and Namibia, were in the three team groups, both of them.
Yeah.
And the story of qualification was one of those
easy.
ones. It was easier for them to qualify.
You just need to win one home game and one away game.
Yeah.
Okay, so
It's cool. We'll talk about group E and group F.
let's wait for
I want to back Namibia, then my next expansion will come from Namibia, because I'm backing them now. So, yeah.
That's cool.
Okay.
We're okay.
Let's speak the girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just in as far as I've got, in as far as all of us coming together, you guys looking forward to it?
Yeah. Football.
Yeah.
Do it anytime.
January is another thing I wanted to talk about. It's back in January again, the African Cup of Nations. Think about that for next week. And you at home as well, think about that for next week. Is January a good time? Are we going to see our best stars coming out to play their best football in January? Or should we be seeing them maybe in the off-season? Till then, from us, it's click, bang.